Higher.
Ew.
Nearer.
Longer. Faster.
Cyflymach.
Gwrando.
Listen.
Engage. Cysylltu.
Cynrychioli.
Represent.
Good evening and welcome to our In Conversation with series. I am delighted to be joined by not one but two very special guests tonight. We have Andrew Seary and Sharon Heveron from Cardiff Athletics Club. Cardiff won the track and field hello track and field Club of the Year award this year in our annual awards. So I'm going to pass over to them and just let them introduce themselves. So Sharon, you look like you're going to go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Sharon. I am the kind of team manager, NAL, kind of at the new league coming forward, myself and Andrew. Started off, I think, 5-6 years ago doing the team manager's role, and absolutely loved it. So I've been stuck doing it since. I think I've been blackmailed several times into staying. Becca Chapman, that's you. Yeah, so it is a role that is difficult, but very rewarding and enjoyable. So there's no point pretending it doesn't come hand in hand, but it's yes, it's a good job. It's a good job.
And hello, yeah, I'm Andrew Seary. I've been involved with Cardiff Athletics some 15, 16 years. Not really as an athlete, but my eldest daughter got involved, and just being around the club, you end up being asked to help out. So I started off with team management at the junior sides, Welsh Junior League, then the was it not McGurtley? What was it called? The Middle League, the British League originally, the British Junior Leagues, involved with those.
We're too young for that, pal. Sorry.
Oh well, yeah.
No.
Oh, I'm not saying anything. I might upset you both. Yeah, so your junior leagues, and then as you go up the ladder, you ended up being asked. Actually, I put my hand up to do the team managers league because the team manager at the time couldn't do it any longer. So historically, I was involved mostly with the girls' teams, team managing with them, following your daughters and so on. So that was a big jump to me, actually looking after fellas rather than young ladies. They're a different kettle of fish, different breed. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've taken them up from Division 2 up to the senior league, up to the top league. We managed to keep them there, which was really a good priority, really.
You're welcome. Let's be honest, the women's team kept them up. Let's be real.
Yeah, you did indeed, yes.
Only because we merged the leagues, they stayed.
Yeah, so the fact that it's together. So that's good. I've also was asked a couple of years ago to be president of the club, which I'm quite honored to be, like a figurehead of the club, which is actually quite interesting to be involved with the top end of what's happening everywhere. So yeah, I'm a busy boy, keeping active within the club. And yeah, generally very enjoyable, as is ups and downs, but generally very good.
Yeah, definitely. I think just from you both introducing there, it's really clear how much you love that team manager role, and it's such a crucial role, isn't it, for any club to have those passionate and sometimes those people, Sharon, that twist your arm to do events all the time that you maybe don't want to do, but you don't do them anyway.
I think literally people feel there's a very underlying level of fear people feel from me. And I think literally I'm never going to do anything, but literally I'm like, oh gosh, I'm really stuck to have somebody to do a 3K. And then I'll randomly get a pole vaulter or somebody to volunteer. But ever since that moment, when that is actually a thing that happened, my friend Jessica Abraham volunteered to do a 3K. She was like, I'm training for a Tough Mudder at the minute. I can do a 3K. And it was the most painful thing I've ever watched in my life.
Oh,
and I will never, ever make anyone do a 3K ever again. Since that moment, literally, it's
7.5 laps is a long way. It's a long way
for a pole vaulter that runs 10 strides. Yeah, it's a long way. So since then, I don't force anybody to do anything.
No.
I hope she had athlete of the month or athlete of the fixture for that.
There was a definite MVP handed out there that day, literally. I do in my for the women's team, I do an MVP trophy, which is normally I'm either like, kind of big performance of the day or somebody that's, either really excelled or done something really special. And then I also have, because I just can't pick one, because we have such an incredible team of people. And you couldn't just single out one person. So as a rule, I normally have like 4 other medals for heroes of the day. And
brilliant.
they're the kind of people that are picking up 3 or 4 events and, do you know what I mean? Just busting out things that they haven't done for like years and years and years. Like when you've got like Sally Peak busting out a triple jump the year after she, finished like being like such an elite level pole vaulter, things like that, literally, where you kind of, and I think that's where I work really hard to develop a team rather than, because athletics is that individual event, isn't it, literally? And it's very hard with teams. And the only time I ever really felt part of like a, really part of a team is when I was away with the Irish team and stuff like that. And my club at home was never, there's only ever 2 of us that was senior athletes. So to have a big team of girls that all know each other, get on well, go away for the weekend, and are always coming home hoarse, literally, from screaming for everybody else. That's what I want, and that's what I'm hoping now when the 2 leagues merge together for the NAL, that we're going to get that with the men as well, because we've got some awesome athletes, and I think literally, but also as well some really good personalities, which I love bringing on teams and stuff. So I think next year, this year, sorry, when we finally get a match together, it'll be really epic. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good day out.
Yeah, it's almost like you're bringing back that really big club atmosphere that you kind of have when you're maybe in the under 11s, under 13s, because you've got so many kids competing, you've got parents, you've got that atmosphere. But I guess as you get to the senior level, it's often just your team, isn't it? And you haven't got such a support group with you. But I think what you do really well, Sharon and Andrew, is you're creating that culture again and bringing the team together to make a whole day of it and to make it fun and exciting, so that people want to be a part of it then, don't they? And I think that's brilliant.
Like, I'm all for high performance sport. I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean? You come, you do your event, you perform to your best, you get the best you can out of the competition, you take what you can from it. At the end of the day, that's why you're there. And actually, let's be real, that's why I want you there. I want you to score as many points as possible. But literally, it'd be nice afterwards if you could enjoy the day rather than be like, I'm off home now, bye.
Done my bit, see ya.
Exactly. So literally, I think literally it's coming to that point where it is a bit more like that, and you do kind of have to lead by example a little bit, in the sense where literally you'll know, literally, if you see me at any match or anything like that, I'm never in one spot. And that's when me and Andrew always work really well together, because Andrew's at base and I'm just constantly walking around the track the whole day yelling at everybody. So it's kind of, it works really well with the 2 of us, in the sense that literally they always know they'll find Andrew for pins and numbers. Or literally they'll find me if they need anything else done, literally in between, or like that. So it's it's a good, I think we've got quite a good partnership going, and it works well together between the 2 of us. So
our techniques of team management are very different, aren't they? You're a much your strong arm tactics are a lot better than mine. And that's where we work. Have worked. I mean, it's different ways. I'm more static, I'm more organizing, I'm checking people who's in and out. You can hear you from anywhere on the track, Sharon.
Yep, that's cool.
I'm happy with that.
You could be on the warm-up track and we still know where you were.
As long as you can hear me if you're sitting on the bus, that's the goal.
That's right. That's right. Yes, I've learned not to sit next to on the bus. But yes, yeah, it is. It's a lovely way of encouraging youngsters to compete. As Sharon was saying, you come for your main event, and realistically, you want to do your best in that event.
Yeah.
And if you can help out in any other event afterwards or whatever, we've had sprinters, youngsters throwing shots and discus just for a point, which can make it, I suppose, difficult. I think Sharon mentioned it before. Sometimes throwers don't like perhaps having Joe Bloggs just throwing for a point, so that could be different. But yeah, it's getting people trying different things, putting their hands up. Some people will, some people are very dedicated to what they want to do, and that's it. It's getting a balance. We could do with a team of multi-eventers, really, which does help.
Finn, I hope you're listening. We need to get some more multi-eventers going.
Yeah.
I think in Wales that we're really lucky at the minute. I think we've got a really good array of even individual athletes to cover all events now, and I just think we're super lucky. And I think what I've always tried to do with the women's team, and then going forward now with the men's team, so we are recruiting as such. Literally, I want to try and stay in Wales, and I want to try and make it as much of a Welsh team as possible, so that it is okay. Don't get me wrong. I got a couple of girls from St. Albans in Ireland come over as well. But literally, they're Celts. They're fine. You know what I mean? That's okay. So you want to try and keep it as Welsh as possible, and you want to try and keep it as local as possible, don't you? Because we have such incredible talent in Wales. And I think it's, it'd be awful easy to try and look on Power 10 and just go down the list of Power 10 and pick. And that's what other clubs do. And they absolutely go around poaching people left, right and centre. And especially now with this new NAL, with all the teams in, that's actually happening an awful lot at the minute. Right. And I think we're very lucky in the sense of all the Welsh athletes that we have, especially obviously in South Wales, but literally, it'd be great to get more from North Wales if we could, but obviously, it's a travelling kind of issue with a lot of them as well. And I understand that from an athlete point of view, because literally when I was in Ireland, I was the North Wales of Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was the far side of west of Ireland, and it was impossible to get anywhere and go anywhere and do anything. So if I would have been asked to be included in teams from Dublin and stuff, I would have been like, what? So, for me, I try and look at all of Wales as a whole and try and get, if we can, those athletes in from the smaller clubs to give them the opportunity. Because, it is Premier League. It's not like it's, we're not down in the bottom divisions. These are good competitions. And some of these are British champs, heats and qualifying sometimes. We get some really good athletes running. And that's, from our own club and from the others as well. So it is at high level. And I think literally in a lot of the NAL matches and meetings and stuff that I've been going to recently, I'm pushing for a lot of rules and stuff for it to be high performance. And I want it to be a position where literally, you've got the likes of Owen Smith, and Beth Moole and people like that, literally, that want to actually come and compete in these competitions. Because they're our best athletes. You know what I mean? You can't turn those kind of ones away. They're the best in the UK. And we're lucky to have them in Cardiff. So I want to be able to create the best competition we can for them. So when we're setting up this NAL at the minute, which has so many rules and stuff at the minute that they're changing because they're incorporating the men's and the women's rules, which are completely different, by the way. It's been difficult, but I think we're going to come out of this with this NAL being a top quality league, really good.
And that's what we want, isn't it? Because we want something for athletes to aspire to, so that further up when we get into selecting the national teams, we've got that crop of athletes there ready, and they're used to competing in big competitions, and it goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
And what you want is something like you want some of these athletes to be able to compete, not just go for times, just not go for distances, to be in a race. If you're 800, you want a proper race. And these are all good quality races. You know,
Yeah.
you watch some of the 100 meters, you'd be astonished at the quality of some of the 100 meters races that we've had. You know, one of the best, one of the best events we had a couple of years ago was when they had all 5 leagues, men's leagues, together on the same day.
Yeah.
And you just watch Division 5 through to Division 1. What a phenomenal day athletics. And you could see, you know, even quality Division 5 as it was then, the standard of people was just fantastic. And so you should aspire. So if you're a top-end athlete, you know, British National League fixture should be one of the fixtures you want to go compete at, because hopefully you're competing against, you know, the other members, you know, from the big teams. And that's what you want. You know, we got some of the big stars competing, and it's been brilliant to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you guys are obviously looking at the sort of the top end of athletics and club athletics as team managers. If there was some people that were kind of keen to get involved in this type of a role within some of our smaller clubs or even our bigger clubs, what are your top tips on kind of getting into the team manager role, and what's your, I guess, biggest experience that you can give as a top tip to kind of help people understand the role and get involved and things? So I know that's a lot of questions there.
Well, the first thing I do is turn your phone off on a Friday night.
Yeah. It's a good call. It's a good call. If you don't get the message, then you don't know they can't
You
compete.
don't know they're not.
That's right. Turn the phone off on a Friday night. No, realistically, you know, I just enjoy what you're doing. You know, one thing I learned, you can only do as a team manager, you can only do your best.
Yeah.
If on fixture day 2 people don't turn up and haven't told you, you can't do much about that. You know, it's happened. You know, it's doing your best. Get to know these people, because I think sometimes get to know some of these athletes is good fun. You know, because they're quite characters, as Sharon's already said. You know, some quiet ones, some noisy ones, and you know, one of the biggest things we did actually when I first started was have a bag of 20p sweets from the club shop. You know, and the kids went nuts over it. They thought it was great. Simple things like that. You know.
Bribery.
I know. Yeah. Hey, look, we had to put it on a VAT form. 20p sweets they were given. You know. But things like that. Just enjoy what you're doing. You know, from the juniors to the old ones. And at the end of the day, don't get too upset if people don't turn up or if it doesn't go that well, because you've just done your best. You know?
And that's all you can do, isn't it? And I think with any role, and particularly voluntary roles, you've got to enjoy it, because otherwise why are you putting all those hours into it? As soon as that enjoyment goes, it's not worth doing anymore. So I think, you know, building those relationships with your athletes and, like you've said, getting that respect from them really helps towards your enjoyment as well.
I think
go on, Sharon, right.
The bit of advice I'd give literally is it's remembering why you're doing it. And the reason you're doing it is to give these athletes a good competition. And that's what you want. And you want them to walk away, particularly when it's the younger kids. I love when the younger ones come up and into the senior ones, like the 16, 17-year-olds, and like they're kind of like, oh, we're doing this today. And I'm just like, oh, they're so cute. I'm just like, you're definitely going in a relay. I'm just like, so you want to make it enjoyable, because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? Especially for the younger ones, I think in particular, it is supposed to be fun. And obviously when you're at a senior level, you know, it is more important. And this is some of these people's livelihoods at the end of the day, literally. You know, it's essentially their career, and they're looking for bigger things like the Olympics and stuff like that. So obviously you've got that level, but it's also, again, it'd be nice that if it was efficient and fun. And I feel like literally you've always got to remember that the reason you're doing it is to make sure little Timmy gets to do his event. And you know that's what you want. You want to be able to make sure that they come away, they get to do their event, they don't miss it, they enjoy the day, and they have a good experience. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you want to do it. And you're doing it essentially to be so horribly cheesy. It's for the kids. You know what I mean? So it's and that's what it is. It's you're doing it in the way to support the club and to try and, you know, make it enjoyable. Like, I know when I was a kid, I had a couple of coaches that used to try and make things so enjoyable for us. And that's just what made it. You know what I mean? You wanted to go back then,
Yeah.
and you were when you were young, you were looking up, going, "Oh, I want to do that league. I want to be able to get into that. I'd love to make that team. That looks like fun." Do you know what I mean? So, and I think that's what you wanted to do. You want it to be kind of a level where you kind of go, "Oh yeah, do you know what? You want to pick the best." Because there's no point picking Timmy if he's rubbish. I'm sorry, Timmy. Do you know what I mean? There's another league for you somewhere else. But you want to be able to get them to enjoy it and to be able to compete. You know, it's when you get to the higher levels, it's different. I think to a degree, you have to be a bit more cutthroat. But I think with the younger ones, you just have to remember why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's to help those kids get in and compete, do as many events as they want to do and are they're allowed to. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be forcing kids to do things. But if, like you said, we need more multi-eventers and Timmy turns out he's a sick decathlete, do you know what I mean? Let him off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
and I think that's what you need to do. You just need to support them and make it fun. So
Yeah.
The junior athletes. Yeah, I really enjoy doing the junior teams. You know, because you could tell the different characters. Some are quite timid. Yeah, some are okay. Others are bouncing around, wanting to do different things. You know, you just let them to do it. You know.
Definitely.
And then keep the parents away. Then that's the other thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think a lot of people perhaps watching this that team manage in some of our clubs might agree with you on that one. I think sometimes managing the parents can be as tricky as anything, can't it?
And most of it, to be honest, most of the parents are really helpful. And they're the helpful ones. They're the ones you grab and help out on the long jump and the shot, things like that. You know, so majority of parents are really good. You've had the odd one or two. But all you can say is, look, I'm a volunteer, you know, I'm doing this or whatever. Why have if you get asked why is so-and-so selected and not so-and-so, as long as you got a decent reason, nothing can be said. And the club will always back you. You know? So that's the most important. But junior athletics are good fun. I used to really enjoy the just doing shot put and things like that, doing the marking. Because that was enjoyable. You know, the young 11-year-old who'd never thrown a shot before, it was good fun. You enjoy it, you know, be part of them, get the best
something
out of it.
new. You know,
and, you know, if you can have that empathy with that age group, it really does help. You know.
Definitely. I think within Cardiff, there's a couple of really good officials that I can think of off the top of my head that really do encourage. Yeah, you are, and they're not your typical kind of what you might think of as an official and being quite scary and intimidating. They support the younger ones and sort of show them how you stand at the start line, how you hold the shot put, what you do, and you know, and I think that's crucial. And I think you've got some really good people in your club that, as across lots of other clubs in Wales, that cling on to those officials. They really make a difference.
You know, there's a big talk about, isn't there, about we may lose a lot of the older officials through all this COVID. So it's mightily important that, you know, it may not be team managing you want to do, but get in and help with some coaching, help the club with officials, because it is good fun, actually, you know. And if you're there at an event in Hereford or something like that, or a Welsh Junior League, you know, why not put your hand up and help? It is so much enjoyable to actually be involved and actually do something functional rather than just sit and stand and watch.
Absolutely. I remember my dad when I was, I'm going to say competing like this, because I don't know if it was really competing. I took part, I participated, but I remember my dad doing his, you know, level 1 field officials and level 1 track officials, just because he was there all the time. And well, I might as well help out because I'm going to be here for 8 hours. I might as well do something useful.
Well, my poor wife will still talk, you know, about Aberdare. I was sat in the stand emptying down the ring. She spent 2 hours raking the sandpit, so that still comes up in regular conversation. You know, I was dry and warm, and she was wet. But it's been part of the team. It's been helpful, and it's amazing how many people to put an event on. How many volunteers are actually needed?
It takes,
And like football, which is a referee and 2 linesmen, you probably need 30, 40, 50 people, volunteers, to help with any athletics event, you know?
And what a lot of people don't realize as well, literally, particularly in the senior league, and it was when the UK Women's League was the days, we had to supply 4 officials, and each one of those officials got us points. And actually, they would get us more points by getting 4 officials on the bus. I would get more points than for 5th place finishes. So I was better off getting, do you know what I mean, my officials on the bus, and they were my priority, was getting officials on the bus, because the competition just doesn't go ahead without them. And that's the thing. And although we're volunteers as well, they're volunteers, and literally we would be absolutely ruined without the officials. So literally, like you said, with your dad volunteering as well, and you know how many other moms and dads literally come to things and they're sitting there all day kind of, I'm bored. Do you know what I mean? Geez, we could really use you. Do you know what I mean? And the clubs are happy to put people on courses. We're more than every club is. We're just desperate for officials. And you know, if you're going to be there anyways, you know.
Exactly. And I'll plug now, there's lots of online virtual fields and I think field and starters assistant courses, I want to say, coming up.
We need those.
So,
Good.
you know, people can even do it now whilst they're bored at home with not much else to do.
And it helps so much. And I know that seems like it sounds really cheesy and things like that, but literally your kids will not be able to compete if there is no officials. It's that simple. Right. And like Andrew said, with all these restrictions for, you know, older people being careful now with COVID and going out and stuff like that, it's going to decimate our officials, because unfortunately, as a rule, it is normally retired people that do it, literally, and to that high level that we need. And I think it can be a big opportunity, literally, for a lot, because you can do a lot of we had Becky and Amy helping us last year and the year before from Newport and Cumbrain over that way, and they they're not Cardiff officials, but they've come and they've joined us, and they've been to European Championships officiating. You know what I mean? Like, and then coming to a UK Women's League, and you're just kind of like, thank you. That's a big, you know, that's a big thing for them to come. So, and they always seem to enjoy it. So, I think it's a big thing that you can actually go up through like quite high levels if you wanted as a parent. You know what I mean? You could, you know, Commonwealth Games isn't far away.
No.
You want to be raking a pit for the commies.
Absolutely. And then you're literally right in within the action, aren't you? And it's you don't get a better seat than that.
You get that accreditation and you're in anywhere you want.
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves the lanyard.
There's a number of officials, haven't they, have gone through the, you know, started off and then gone off. You know, there's a couple of the hoopers, things like that, haven't they? They're very much involved in starting, and you know, I think travel throughout the country and all over Europe. I think you got you know, so there is opportunities if you're not necessarily enjoy the competitive side of it, you know, volunteering in that side is massive. So
absolutely.
They're way more important than what we do.
That's right, I agree on that.
If you're ranking officials are up here and we're down here.
Everybody plays their part in this tapestry. Everybody plays their part.
But it is, one of the big concerns with team management has been getting officials at all levels. You know, whether it be just the very basics of the top end. One of the first things when planning this is there's a mad scramble. There are only a certain amount of qualified officials at a certain level that can do certain jobs, you know, like, you know, be in charge, things like that. And it's a big scramble, you know, to try and get them,
definitely.
You know?
How helpful then, Andrew, is it having that? So I know within your club you've got sort of an official coordinator that works to coordinate the club, the officials within your club. Does that sit and help the roles that you guys do, or is he kind of more trying to work on the development of officials through the club and getting more people?
Yeah, they're very good actually, because again, you know, they got fingers in pies with all the junior teams trying to get parents to help, and then once you've got them involved, then to bring them up the ladder through. So they'll have a list of who's available, you know, what levels they're what grades. So because up at our level, you need certain graded, you know, as well as your help and things like that. You all needed health and safety and all the things like that. So it's important to have, you know, somebody like that whose role is to actually encourage parents to eventually get involved with coaching and officiating. And then for team managers, just we can go to them and say who's available, who have you got in a minute. And then when the fixtures come out, which will be in theory normally by now you'd know them all, wouldn't you? But obviously a bit later, you literally would organise your top officials now. You know, not waiting until the week before if you could. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You'd have your officials normally wrangled by Christmas if you could. Literally.
Yeah.
You give them a rough weekend. I'm normally
Yeah.
like, it's the first weekend in May, June, July, and August. Are you free?
Yeah.
And literally,
Need you.
yeah, that's it. Literally,
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing else. That's all that's on my Christmas list from Santi is officials.
Yeah.
That's literally all I want. I was just like, can you officiate? Can you officiate? Can you
Yeah.
officiate? And literally, so I'm normally trying to wrangle officials. But like Andrew said, I think within the club, it's been so awesome, literally, to have like Pete and Rory helping us literally with the officials. It's been so good. And I would say if you previously you'd have to kind of wrangle them yourself.
Yeah.
Which is quite difficult, literally, because you have to know every athlete and then also every official, which is and there's never a list anywhere. Yeah, it's a lot of people you need to know. And I think literally I would say that if certain clubs don't already have an official coordinator, then that should be a new role everybody puts in, because it's and I think literally it'll be, like you said, with all the courses that are going on at the minute within Welsh Athletics, and for people to do, it'd be really helpful for literally just for the club in general, because like Andrew said, there's loads of different leagues. It's not just NAL, there's YDL, there's the Welsh leagues, there's all everything else. You need officials, so I think it's a really
cross country
important role.
isn't it?
Yeah, really important role, really important.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
So you also think they do coaching coordinators. So if you're interested in coaching, exactly the same thing. By all means, just put your hand up and say, "Look, I'm here to help. I'm good at this, that, and the other." The other thing is, you may be good at sponsorship, you may work in it. The clubs need sponsorship, things like that. So if you have a particular expertise in marketing and things, look, what can I do for the club?
Yeah,
definitely. A little bit of time now and again. If you're sat there while your son or daughter's training out on the pitch or on the field, obviously not now, but because that's how I started. I just took my daughter down there. I was doing some paperwork in the corner. I just get grabbed and say, "Look, you're not doing anything. Come and help." And that was.
I think that's how most of us get involved, isn't it? We get cahooed into it somehow by someone. I remember for me it was Tracy when she was the volunteer coordinator. I had no hope, did I? As soon as she was on my
no, once you got your claws in, you've had it. You're not the first or the last.
I'm very glad she did.
It was James Williams for me.
I
said, Sharon, I think you'd be really good if you came along to this AGM. And I was just like, why? I was like, I finished competing. I was like, what are you talking about? And then somehow there was a proposal for me to be the team manager. And I was like, sorry, what? So I fully blame James Williams for my role.
But you've not looked back since.
Where's he gone?
I don't know.
Yeah, because James Williams was team manager of the men's team, wasn't he?
Exactly. And he did say to me, literally, he said, it'll be stressful, he said, but you'll love it. And James brought the men's team to the Premier League previously.
Yeah.
So literally, and it was at the time the women's league we were in bottom division. I remember the first competition, we had 7 athletes. It was brutal. It was a brutal day out. And I think in the first 2 leagues I competed twice. So it wasn't, my power 10 ain't looking pretty for Hammer. And
do you know what? There was a fixture. I think, I've forgotten where we were now. I nearly put on a vest myself to throw a shot.
Oh wow!
Just lucky.
You've been all right.
I probably would have been, because I was in, when I was in active athletes at school, it was shot, discus, things like that. I was never a runner.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably could have, but I didn't in the end. But yeah,
you got saved.
But didn't you got like Matt Elias out a couple of years ago?
That was a credit. Oh yeah, that was
what?
Out of retirement.
We were in, where Saracens play rugby? Is it the Alliance Stadium? Or I think it's called down there. 400 meters was going on, so the A runner goes off, and we had no B 400 meter hurdler. So it was, I think it was a fixture where it was the last fixture. So where we had to do well to stay up, and he was in the stand with a couple of his athletes. He says, "Haven't you got a B runner?" I said, "No." So he literally jumped out of the stand. Yeah, no warm up. Yeah, my wife was pinning a number on her vest, which he grabbed off somebody else. He was in a pair of daps. Yeah, on the start line. the starter was saying, "Do you know what you're doing, sir? Have you never run before?" So he basically did, I don't know, some ridiculous time, but he got us 2 or 3 points because I think there's only 4 running it instead of 8. Because every point at the time was valuable. But yes, he just literally did off the stand. I don't think he could walk for 2 days after.
Oh,
and somebody
imagine the abuse from his
The
group.
Doms off that.
somebody videoed it as well and put it on social media.
Well,
And,
he's a hero in my eyes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was great.
brilliant.
It was fantastic.
Hero.
The problem now is power of 10 looks ridiculous, so because
Yeah.
I then had to register him, because he had to be he was an
Yeah.
honorary member of the team of the club, so he didn't have to pay like that. But I had like 30 seconds to register his name before he ran. So
Right down to the wire.
yeah, luckily, actually, that was the first year that you did it all online.
Yeah,
could
you had
change
it
the team
online, didn't you?
online. You could literally log on and then change the name. And because he was already a member of the club, because he was a lifetime member. He was a member of the club, so he's good. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was memorable to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
Lots of great memories there.
But yeah, my wife just putting he's putting the vest on, put his numbers on back and front, and then getting on the start line, and then being told, "Do you know what you're doing?"
I'm surprised he didn't say, "Do you not know who I am?" Come on.
Yeah. He didn't have the hair coloured like last time. That's why he probably didn't recognise him.
Yeah,
They didn't
been the
recognise
giveaway.
him. Yeah, they didn't recognise him.
Yeah, but some good memories like that. Some some great characters at all different levels, from the youngsters coming through. One of the greatest memories, it really is just some of the younger guys coming through. You can see the fear in the eye of who they're up against. But they then, because realistically, we'll choose people who at that level can compete. What you don't want is an 800-meter runner to be 30 seconds behind. It's not good for them at all. So we will only choose really competitive athletes, and that's what I think is one of the rules. I think the league, that you have to be a competitive within a certain time.
Yeah.
So to see some of the younger guys like James Vincent and people like that come through, and you can see it in their eyes, oh, what the hell's happening here? And actually be in a competitive race. They may not win it, but they're in a race and they're competitive, and they're buzzing after because they realize they've competed with some really good guys.
Yeah.
And so they and whether it be throwers or jumpers or whatever, it's great to see that in them, and that's part of it. Is it said, Sharon said it before, is getting the youngsters to aspire to compete at that level.
Yeah.
I can remember at rugby, playing youth rugby, and then looking at the senior team and wanting to play for them, So and that's what you got to do. You want to wear the colour, you want to put the vest on.
Yeah, you want to be proud, don't you, to be involved in that vest. Yeah.
We were lucky enough to have Jenny and Charlotte run for us last year before, and basically they just, for them, I suppose it was a training run. But oh my god, like the announcer, he was loving it, and it was all they could talk about in Welsh Athletics Weekly the week after, literally, and it was all anyone was talking about the whole day, and it was just a showcase of running, and it was just everybody was interested. Now I'm a high jumper, I'm not interested in middle distance and any kind of running, you know what I mean, and even I was interested, and it was just incredible to watch, and they're just so cute, the two of them anyways. But literally they were just, when they ran together, they just when you just see people just excel and be so good, and just
they just glide, don't they? It's effortless.
And it's just, and it was just, I felt that day, I just literally, as a team manager that day, was kind of like in our Premier League basically, and it was our joint match, so the teams weren't joined together. It was our last match in Birmingham, and then joined together that day, and it was just one of those ones that literally, they clearly won the A and the B, you know what I mean? Like literally, there was no, but literally it was just it was one of the days where I was really proud to be the team manager, that athletes of this caliber, who knew they were going to come and they were going to win, you know what I mean, they made the time to come and help the club, and because that is in it as well, you know what I mean, like as much as we want it to be a high performance, there are times that our athletes are better than the league, you know, and there's no point pretending there isn't, do you know what I mean? But it was a really special day. That was a real special event for me, I think, that one. And I really enjoyed it. I'll always remember that one.
One to treasure.
Yeah, it was really good because it was just the announcer was just bloody loving it. It was brilliant. It was so good. And they were like, oh, they're so incredible. And I was like, yes, they are. We were just screaming. So
yeah, that was Birmingham, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Birmingham. That was the one. It was our last as BAL and UK Women's League.
Yeah, see, the complete opposite for you. That was probably my worst ever fixture. Because we had probably the weakest team that through circumstances under control I ever had, and that knocked me for 6, to be honest. But I've turned that around now. But so whereas you had everybody competing, people wanted to turn out and things like that, we have people crying off the last minute. People were competing 2 days beforehand, telling me, "Oh yeah, I'll be there," and turn around and say, "Actually, no, not going to now." And that was the last, to run it, at the Alexander Stadium, the last fixture ever to be held there before it's been, it would be an ideal opportunity to run. But hey ho, it happens. But that's the yin and yang, isn't it? Management. Sharon was on a high. I think the whole of Birmingham heard her. Shouting into that. She was in work on the Monday. It was just deathly quiet. Because Sharon couldn't speak, where I was under a cloud thinking mopey and gropey. But that's what it's all about. There's only so much you can do as a team manager, in a club. Sharon was on a high, I was on a low, but hey, coming forward.
What worked out nicely in that is literally, although the men's team finished essentially in a position for relegation.
Oh yeah.
We finished. It was our first year in Premier League, and we finished in such a high spot that actually we pulled it together in the middle. Yeah. So then that meant literally, okay, maybe it wasn't a successful year for the men's team, but it was due to a lot of unfortunate events and everything that happened. It wasn't a true reflection, I think, of what the men are capable of in any way. And I think literally that was the first time I think literally we started working as a team, but not even realizing we were working as a team, So the women pulled the men up, and we've stayed in Prem now. So when we get the chance for the NAL, I think literally it's going to be the men's and women's teams together, and it's going to be very different, I think. And I think hopefully they're all going to enjoy it. I think.
Exciting. Do you think that's the thing that you're looking forward to most then for hopefully this year?
Dying to get them all on a bus. If we're allowed ever again.
I know.
If we're allowed ever get them on again, literally, and just kind of get them going. And just kind of, the girls will know that literally I just kind of, and you guys know me as well, so you literally know I just speak, and whether it makes any sense or not most of the time, literally it's just coming out. But they know that literally I'm in it as much as them, and Andrew's the same. We're in it together. Do you know what I mean? Like literally, I'm not just sitting at the front of the bus calling out names. I'm running around. If somebody needs shoelaces, I'm going for shoelaces. You know what I mean? I've got like a bum bag full of stuff, literally that anybody needs. So literally, it's like the giant kind of fanny pack that anybody has, basically, literally. And I'm kind of running around making sure everything's all right. And I just think, I'm hoping now that the men are going to kind of embrace that kind of team spirit that the women have had for the last couple of years. And I think literally we could, I think really, we're good enough to win the league. We're better than Birchfield. Do you know what I mean? We're better than them, and we have better athletes. And I think that's something we should really aspire to, because I think we can do it. Do you know what I mean? And it'd be so good for a Welsh team to win.
Oh, wouldn't it?
You know what I mean?
No pressure, you guys.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the whole of Wales behind you, cheering you on.
Do you know what I mean? And for us, I suppose it's the pinnacle of kind of like league, because it's Premier League essentially. And I know we're supposed to hate Swansea and everything, but I think literally as teams, together, literally we have to work together. And I think that's the thing. We always try and do that, even with Bristol and West. We kind of support each other because we're kind of the teams from the middle of nowhere. and we try and all, you know, push each other forward. Like oftentimes we've brought Swansea people and Bristol and West people on our bus to leagues,
Yeah, that's right.
you know, and it's I think literally, you know, we all got to kind of stick together down here. Literally, it's you know, you've got to, and like I think between Swansea and between Cardiff, there's some good athletes, like really good athletes, and I think it could be a really interesting year if we actually get some fixtures.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Good. Yeah. So, but
yeah, say you say about Swansea and other teams like that. Although you are competitive against them, you've got that. I'm trying to think of that word, that friendship as well. Because quite often these guys will be away together, they'll be in camps together. You know, they know each other left, right, and centre. You know, they may be competing against each other on that day, but they're also generally good mates.
Yeah.
You know? You may be competing in the same event, things like that, but actually just good mates as well.
Yeah.
'Cause they,
And often training partners as well, if you know, especially because we're so close together.
yeah, but by the time you get to that level, you know, the pyramids get smaller. Yeah, so there's less people of your age doing that event. So quite often you'll have them all the way from South Wales training together, training camps together. Quite often a lot of them be competing for Wales together, and have them perhaps from Celtics and so on all the way up. So they'll know each other intimately, really. So which is actually, although, you know, the Swansea flag has been down there and things like that, you know, we know the team managers, we know most of the athletes, we'll always say hello to each other, you know. So yeah,
Great.
it's quite competitive, but it's also very friendly.
Yeah, definitely.
Welsh, you got to stick together, says the Irish girl.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. You're Celtic, girl. You're Celtic.
Yeah, Celtic.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's great. I'm just aware we've been nattering for quite a while, so I'll
Are you recording this?
we are. I hope it's recording.
Have to do it all again.
I know. But thank you both ever so much for your time this evening. I think a lot of people are going to find this chat really interesting and hopefully inspiring to get involved with their own clubs. And it's probably a lot that you've said that will resonate with other people as well. So thank you ever so much for your time. And it's been lovely to see you both, albeit virtually. It's still been nice to see you through my screen.
Yeah. What else are we going to do on a Sunday afternoon? You know?
Can't go anywhere at the moment.
No. Yeah, there's only some romantic stuff on TV, isn't there? You don't want to watch that, do you?
Missing Country File, maybe.
Oh, yeah. What time's that start? 7, isn't it? Okay, we just about get there for that. Yeah, okay. All right. Thanks, then.
Thank you so